If you give a musician a really good hand job, they might just, write a masterpiece.
And I've been coming ever since.
And then they paid you.
And then they paid me.
Get a job with a giraffe, and then you will never work a day.
Yeah, that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stanis podcast number 5, and today I have here with me my good friend that we are more of acquaintances with, Vlad.
Vlad. The sound of it.
Vlad. Yeah, so how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Say hi to the audience.
Hi, the audience. I'm dead.
Dead inside?
Dead inside.
What do you consider to be the most important things that define you in your life?
Yeah, you ask difficult questions, but I guess a few of those can be found in my presentations that I sent you beforehand. I believe one of them is my job, which actually is like I have no idea what I'm doing. I believe that would be video games because that's what I do a lot. And I would be like, there was the thing that I would consider myself a translator, not just the interpreter, but video games translator. I've actually translated to like 2 games at the moment. And,
Is that your job?
No, it's not my primary job. It was just like projects I took from my friends.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but I haven't, got any orders for a while.
So the things that define you are your job that you didn't name, and video games, and translating video games.
No, it's just fine. Let's just say that. Let's start with my work. Also, the list is not complete. I would also like, adding being gay, but at some point it just got so boring that mentioning it is just, everybody knows that. Should I actually be talking about that? Currently, I'm a methodologist. It's not like a church thing. It's about methodology of educational courses that IT people take when they want to study our product or something. I'm working at VK, one of the biggest Russia's IT companies, and that's
just like giant Facebook clone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Kind of became a TikTok clone.
At the moment, VK is so much more than the social network. It's also IT products that support different functions like taxation, quite a few stuff anyway. So I'm one of these people who appear at the beginning of your training and just say, hello, this is our lecture number 5, and today we'll be talking about networks.
So basically you're a matador.
Yeah, in a way, it's just I'm waving all these red flags. Dear colleagues.
You just make the crowd roar, like with excitement.
No, just not mostly with excitement. They'll get bored in the process anyway. I make presentations, that's number 1. I make them with experts who actually know stuff.
So you're educating people, you're an educator.
I'm not the hand that feeds. I'm the one that stands behind them. I'm the one that holds tutors' hands while they do it. I'm there in the shadows, working my magic.
Maybe, if we dare say so, you're an educational manager.
I believe that's somehow accurate, right? Because at some point I have to be event manager. At some point I have to be designer to make that presentation not too ugly. I have to be actually the manager that goes around and asks people, when will this stuff be ready? And I hate doing that, actually.
Honestly, from everything you say, dare I say you are actually a producer.
Well, I believe in a way, although it depends on the project.
I would have never thought there is such a job in VK anywhere.
Yeah, you see the problem here is there is a job that takes a bit from every direction and it sounds new. But at the same time, I realized that there are quite a few jobs in the market for that. This is not the only company that does that. I believe any large IT company would have a person like that would go around teaching people their stuff.
Mostly, I am sure that you are a producer. You just need to do anything that needs to be done to make the show happen, basically. The lecturer gives the lecture, passes on the information that needs to be passed on, and for it to be entertaining and useful, whatever they need is basically what you do. So that's an executive producer.
I guess it is. You would know more about that because I've never been a producer myself.
So need to take care of the design, need to take care like of the materials, need to take care of the information, like go make some people do their job.
The only problem I have with that is that I have no actual power over people. We have to beg around to just give us some time from this architect or someone person who actually understands what's going on. They have little time because they are always
busy working.
Yeah, they are always busy. Actually, me and my activities are a nice way to procrastinate for those people.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't want to do that big, awful task you were asked to do like a dozen times a week ago. You just come and have like a 2-hour talk with me because I will be collecting this data and you will be sharing it willingly and you will feel okay after that because you've actually done something useful and you didn't do that awful job you had to do.
Well, thank you. I think I understand who you are now.
Well,
I will probably cut around 80% of that conversation.
Oh, but please do.
I will leave the part where it makes sense, which is the 20%.
Which is a few sentences in the middle.
Yeah, if you were like just like it will be words from different sentences. I will just construct my own descriptions with your voice. It's gonna work better.
So you will just say, I'm the producer. Yeah. And
yes, I am the producer. Yes, thank you, Arseny. That's it. Yeah, that's good. But I see from your beautiful presentation that you created. Is this, first of all, is this like a sickness now?
Yeah, it is.
Where like whatever you do, you just make a presentation?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Trying to cook eggs in the morning, in the end you drop in front of your partner just like a presentation. He's like, I can't eat that. It's not food. It's like, oh, did I make a presentation again? Oh, fuck.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I believe it's kind of a sickness now because actually that was my first instinct when you asked me how I was. I've never done that before. I mean, people never expected from me an answer to what is important for you, how are you doing, and what is important for you. They are closely tied together. They're not the same.
I am afraid, of course, every time I ask that question, that a person, instead of coming to a podcast with a list of things they care about, will just have an existential crisis and ruin their entire life. They're like, what is important to me? Who am I important to?
Are you questioning my life choices?
Questioning my existence. You're saying in your presentation that there is chaos around and that like people are not happy and that the processes are all fucked and like everything's wrong.
It's always like that in my jobs. In my previous company, they keep updating the company structure every now and then, like every few months. Although we knew what we had to do, all this structural nonsense kept going for a while and they obstructed our job, that would say.
And here it's better.
Yeah, in a way, because at least I know who's my superior now, although he's not always there for me, but he has other projects too, so that's how it is.
Did he not sing the Friends song in the beginning of your work life together?
When the rain starts to fall, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I have.
Because you're there for him too.
We do that.
Good. It's nice.
By the way, that's a nice song. I should take it and write down because, as you probably know, or you probably don't, I've been learning to sing for a while.
I have no idea about that.
Yeah, I might have not mentioned that on the presentation, or did I?
Maybe.
Oh, whatever.
One of the things you didn't mention is that you have a big Twitter following and that you're like sharing some of your crazy thoughts and jokes with it. So how many followers do you have on Twitter right now?
At some point I had next to 6,000. Now it's like 5.9 or something.
So people started falling off. It's interesting.
Yeah. Actually, when, this whole war thing started, first I made the account private. I just deleted like 100 bots or something. That was my doing. Not much people joined afterwards, but I believe that this is my limit. This is as far as I go. At this point of my existence, I believe that it's okay. I mean, it's not too bad, and considering that Twitter is falling apart due to Elon Musk's perfect management decisions.
Has there ever been a moment where Twitter wasn't falling apart?
There was, I believe it would be like 2016, 2018 or something. And then it all went downslide.
Back in the golden years.
Yeah.
When Twitter was still young.
Oh.
People could meme.
Yeah.
And say what they think.
And the ice cream was so good.
Sugar was sweeter, and like the grass was a lot easier to smoke. It's true.
And we were younger.
I have noticed lately that I am aging. Like, it's been quite a surprise. But, you know, it's always happening. It's always going on.
What's coming with age? Is it wisdom?
You're coming a little less, I'd say. It's, I guess it's different from different people. Well, anyway, other thing.
So that would be the point that I would actually want to ask. How are you doing? Considering this age stuff.
Antidepressants kind of kill my libido. It's annoying. Other than that, mostly good.
Oh, this thing. I can associate with that.
It's fine.
I feel you, bro. Because, this libido thing, when it's not happening, I have no motivation to go to the gym. What for? Who will be there for me?
Is that what you're doing at the gym? It's kind of unsanitary, I'd say.
If you're master of the gym, it's okay.
You're a masturbator.
Of the gym. Of the whole gym. Please no.
Okay, guys, line up.
Is that another occupation? Yeah.
Just like line up. I'm a methodologist. This probably is part of my duties.
Are you the producer? Really? Though
I have a method to go about this. That's what I got from your description of your job. Just jerking about, yeah.
On
all sides.
These dicks ain't gonna jerk themselves. No.
True.
They aren't.
Well, honestly, however, did you ever get an idea to become a methodologist?
I never did.
Did you slip on the streets and fell into an office and they were like, well, here's a vague job for you?
They just found me.
They found you where?
On Headhunter, of course. That's the place where you go when you need jobs.
Oh, you're just like, I want a job. I'm not sure which, but...
Yeah. I'm something like content manager. I've been an editor and translator. So basically, I can do a lot of text-related stuff. And then they come to me and say, we have this job. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm pretty fit for that, because it sounds like a lot like technical writing, because I've been a technical writer. I mean, I've tried that like for 3 months. It wasn't actually much satisfaction from that. I didn't enjoy it properly, I would say. One day they just come to me and say, like, we have this job, would you come? I say, I'll come good. So I did, and I've been coming ever since.
And then they paid you.
And then they paid me, and they were just like, "Oh my God, can I really get money for that?"
For this. Yeah.
So I've been doing this all this time for free, and now we're talking.
Now I save each one for the better days when someone is willing to pay for it, which is good.
A lot of comment in this podcast. I'm starting to enjoy that too.
Are you happy with your job now? Do you like it?
I mean, it has, the usual pros and cons, because it has some management chaos still, but not as much. It is enjoyable at times when you actually collect data and try to sort it out, because when you take an unsorted drive of data and then you suddenly make it very small, compact, and comprehensible. It's cool. I mean, it just gives this edge to the whole thing.
Do you see yourself doing that same thing but growing in it, rising up in the ranks?
As for the ranks, I'm not sure I want to be the manager, because I believe the only thing that management gives me is headache, because, actually, as I said, pestering people is not my thing.
Kinda hate people, yeah.
So, but I enjoy the idea of getting, earning more
raise.
money with the same. Yeah. That's getting a raise.
I'm not
is,
sure
well,
I want to I'm not sure I want more responsibility or like extra qualifications, but what I would like is a raise.
it works every time.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, well, but do you have but you're very young at the moment.
Am I? I'm over 30. It's just, it doesn't
You're
sound like
still-
very young.
Unfortunately, you probably have around 40 more years to live,
Oh,
or even maybe a little more.
please don't remind me. I have, this. I've had a mid-age crisis when I was like 16. So basically, I don't think I have much to live.
So, how old are you right now?
I'm 31.
So you have 1 year left. You have literally 1 year left. Well, you will always make it to Jesus years.
I surely hope so. Maybe that would make me more forgiving.
Oh, Jesus, just them. It's like
Jeez nuts.
yeah. It's nice to hear. I remember talking to you about work. Used to be depressing. Now it's just, a little boring.
I believe.
Kind of.
I believe last time we talked. I believe last time we talked about it, neither of us had jobs. So I remember this point where we were sitting in this Japanese restaurant. And we were just, what would you like to do with your life? We were just, oh God, I have no idea. And then you went to this gaming company and I went to this affiliate network, and somehow here we are.
Well, actually, I had this thing where I kind of realized that I don't want to do things that I hate anymore, and I don't want to do things even that I don't want to anymore. And I realized that if I brush aside all the things I should like or should want to do, then there's just YouTube, basically. YouTube, TV shows, manga, stuff that I enjoy, all sorts of content.
Would you like to, consume this content or to produce it?
No, I just love it. I just love it. And I realized that, well, if I could be an English-speaking YouTuber, that actually would be something worth having. Something I would be happy about and proud of. And I remember I had this realization and I decided, okay, now I'm going that way. And in half a year, I found a job that was actually English-speaking YouTube, which was weird. It kind of wasn't exactly that, but I molded it in the first few months in a way that people would tell me, go do this. And I would say, but I didn't, but I did this instead. And it's kind of good. And they're like, fuck you, it is good. And so, yeah, sure, do more of that, fuck you. And that's kind of not respecting, not respecting people's wishes really helps when you're
So it got you so far.
Yeah, it's just if you guys don't like that I'm doing stuff that I like, I'll just leave. I can go back teaching English. It's not a problem.
Are you feeling, are you feeling secure enough to turn down tempting offers that you actually, tempting offers in terms of money, but at the same time not as tempting in terms of, what you have to do?
I don't remember them. But when they do come, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I kind of forget about it immediately.
No cryptocurrencies, please. I wouldn't want to make videos about that.
Nobody approached me with that, actually. It's interesting.
Well, that's weird, because at some point I had a few offers that... even my sister, who's she's 20? 20... No, she's almost 23. What is it?
I actually didn't have any open applications anywhere, because I didn't want it. I would just find work through the people who know me, basically.
Well, that's a nice network you have there.
It kind of works with the things that I do, because I like screaming about how great I am. And people are like, oh, I remember that guy who said he was great. Maybe let's give him a call. And it's it kind of works out in the end.
No, I have too much of an imposter syndrome for that. So it's just, even at this point, I'm not sure I'm fit for the job I've been doing for more than half a year. So
at some point, I had that. I realized that I am being cruel to people who are more stupid and less qualified than me, by thinking that I suck. Because if I suck and then I like compare what I do to what they do, they should kill themselves, and that's not merciful. So I used to be like, well, I don't know English that well, and people would be like, well, if you don't know English that well, how can I look my parents in the eyes? And I would be like, sure, that's a point.
So you say that treating yourself cruelly is not what Christ would have wanted.
Yeah, it's just, well, it's not cruelly. It's like belittling yourself actually has far more reaching consequences than you think, because people are connected at the hip. Everybody, even people who you're at a long distance with. And when you undervalue yourself, you are subsequently undervaluing everybody who thinks of you as part of their network.
That's a way of thinking about it. Okay, I've never thought about it this way. It's just I've realized that we belittle ourselves quite, frequently, but it's just because we have all this access, to the internet, to the where we see where that people can do this thing better than you. You see many people who do that thing better than you. There is always a Korean or a Chinese boy who does it better than you. So just see that the level of this top is like very high. And then you find the same somewhere in the middle, so you must be,
Well, first of all, what other people do is kind of none of my business, like with people who are like way out there. And mostly the reason is context, because whenever I kind of sink my teeth into something and really work out what it takes to do that, you realize that there is so many levels of illusion. People think they understand what goes into doing something, but then when they actually start trying, you realize that it's not like this one guy who is creating this giant empire of content. They have like
a team of 12 people.
Not only the team of 12 people, to understand, they have like agents, and they have like this, they are parts of those networks that are built to facilitate connections. They go to conferences. They have basically this know-how. They have like friend groups with other creators where they work out those formats. When you look from the outside, you think, oh, this guy just came up with all of that. But no, they have been coming up in that environment for years, and they have put in a lot of work even before that. A lot of hard work and a lot of human labor outside of that one person, because it's an entire basically community industry.
We also have to account for, high foundation that they had at the start, because, if you are a white guy from a rich country, from a rich European country, so it's just you have like more reasons and more ways and more, all these connections you say, all that you describe, they actually, they started at the very childhood of yours, right? So you get some of those skills from your parents. Parents have to be like kind of successful or something. Then you'll start building these networks. So it's not just it doesn't happen overnight, because it's a lifetime of work. But also it's not just work. It's also this luck to be born somewhere where you have more opportunities for that.
I just say that like it doesn't matter what happens to other people, because the context of human life is so diverse, rich, and difficult to comprehend, because we're kind of not smart enough to comprehend what goes into making all that, it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to get everything that I enjoy, kind of make it harmonize a little bit, so that they go into each other. Like I don't know, like working with my voice. I like TV shows. I'm like, I'll make a podcast about that. So I'll be using my voice to talk about TV shows and talking to my friends who are somewhere, because I have no other good reason right now to talk to them. I'm trying to massage different parts of my life and my interests and stuff to kind of all sort of flow in the same direction. And that's what life is to me. And if I try to look at somebody else and say, oh, how did they do that? And I only see one little strand, only the result. I do not see this vast like foundation, the like all the little streams of energy, information, and just processes that are happening all around them and in them, just makes no sense. But I can take a look at what constitutes my own life. And also, I try to not have relationships with people if they're like really like opposing or going in the other one or like hating on me.
I mean, aren't we all? I mean, aren't we all trying to make the same thing, like build a circle of people around us who are, who have the same way of thinking about life and, same values?
It's not the same values and it's not it's thinking the same things. It's I kind of want people who are moving in the same direction as me so that we empower each other. If you're thinking the same way, but you're not empowering each other, you're actually making yourself stuck because you keep sitting down and talking about how you agree on everything.
Yeah, that's what they call an echo chamber. And
it's a question of what you identify with. And I don't really identify with what I'm thinking right now, but I do identify with this kind of like movement from me in the past to me in the future.
That sounds like you think of yourself not just as a single being, but just as a set of characteristics, and your personality is like smudged all around that stuff.
Whenever I try to say who I am right now, it feels to me like I'm trying to take like a 2D picture of a 4-dimensional process.
That thing.
And then you're like, yeah, it kind of like it's correct, but it's not really giving you a whole lot of information, and definitely doesn't, like, the layers get smushed so you can kind of see them, but you don't understand the relationship between them.
At the very beginning of my sessions with a psychotherapist, I had this moment when I tried to dissect myself into these parts where I'm a translator, I'm a gamer, I'm a gay, and something else.
Gamer, gay, g.
Nah, this joke, I know. I've been thinking in my head since I was 20, so it's not that fun anymore.
That's why you're a g now.
Yes, that's why I'm a grish. When you start dissecting yourself, it really doesn't give the whole impression, the correct impression of what you are. But I believe there is no one correct way to describe what you are, except for, using these tags that you take from this, semantic cloud. So, words.
I kind of feel like I'm not just me. I'm a process socially. Like when I'm talking to you, there's like this sort of a being, me, you, and our conversation. People are different when they're communicating with different people, and they will start to change through that as well. When I listen to you and you kind of say like there's a Korean boy that does it better, at that point I'm amazed that you single out that Korean boy from his culture, from his context, from his life, like what kind of stuff he has going on. His parents hitting him with a stick to keep playing violin.
But I really don't want to know. I really don't want to know all that. It just, my empathy doesn't stretch out that far. I have to.
But you don't have to.
I have to limit that.
You don't have to empathize with him. I'm not saying that like it's bad, so he's good because life is bad and you need to feel sorry for him. I'm saying that those are all ways of sort of like managing resources that, yeah, it produces this result.
But what does it cost? Everything.
I'm just saying that like you're comparing yourself singled out to himself singled out when you're not a single person, basically. You're not really, you're not that, like, this thing of like, you're not that special. Like, and I have this for myself. I'm not that special. I'm not special. I'm very regular, but I'm great. There is this greatness and this great energy that you can kind of harvest from the things that are happening with you in the world and with other people. If you get some self-awareness about like, oh, I have a lot of energy here and I don't use it. So I have a lot of energy here and I don't use it. I can use that. I'll be great in that.
Can you think of yourself, as pieces of other people? I mean, if you are a process and you're basically boiling in this pot and there are processes all around you, that would actually mean that you're kind of interlinked with all of that. Everything is intertwined.
Well, yeah, it's true. You see, like, one of the ways to really see that, for example, if somebody you know, and who's not even really close to you, but who is sort of in your network, kills themselves, it will devastate so much of your world, even though, like, that particular person you might not have much of a relationship with. People you have relationships with have relationships with that person. They have, like, images like, oh, this guy is this type of guy. They're part of their even, like, vision of the world. And this, then it becomes a black hole that kind of, like, punches through for everybody. And that's because everybody is incredibly connected.
Yeah, I've seen that on Twitter a few times. I mean, there were these people, I believe I know at least 4 people who were in my network who I kind of knew, and then they died. And although we never communicated a lot, it's just that for one girl I helped, there was this fundraising for her operation, which didn't end well. That's a shame. For another person, I believe we've been collecting money for his debt because he broke his arm while falling on the St. Petersburg's ice and something like that. And then there was another person recently who I didn't like, who also did some kind of fundraising, but mostly wasted it on drugs, and he died anyway. It didn't devastate my world because by that time I haven't communicated him with a while. But as for the previous 2 people, many people around me they felt that. I don't know whether they were devastated, but it surely looked so.
That's kind of like, it's an extreme example where you can easily see the influence, the impact. If somebody in your network rises up, like really achieves something, really just, cleans up their act, finds a way to stop doing drugs in a really meaningful way, for example, or writes a really good book, or, I don't know, like gets really fit in a healthy way, has kids and changes for the better, becomes a great parent. That also has this kind of effect on the network. It's it's more subtle, but like everybody who knows them, oh, like this guy had a kid and now like he's completely different now, and it affects someone a lot because they know them well. And then people who don't know that guy well, they know well the people who do know him well, and just like it goes and goes. There's like trends and stuff.
There are other implications to that, concept or theory. I've heard it multiple times from the IT people. The implication is that you have to surround yourself with better people to become a better person. If you want to earn more money, you have to make friends with people who earn more money. And that's the way I wouldn't want to think about human relations. It's just like, it feels like unethical. I don't know. Somehow.
That's just a very flat application of this principle. Because like it could be true for finances, but it's only if you think that finances is the only important resource or thing, basically. Yeah, you probably will make more if you get more rich friends. But at the same time, the other thing you're making more in your like network is fucking abandoning your friends. So like if
more abandoning.
Yeah, no, seriously, like if you are abandoning people or just really kind of treating them inhumanely, you will have more of that around you as well. That's literally it.
Please don't treat people as lobsters.
True. Well, the idea is, what, did you hear some Petersonian logic in what I'm saying?
No, well, in a way, I mean, this stuff for these, IT success guys is just that if you win, you have to keep winning, otherwise you're a loser. So I have to keep winning all the time.
There are so many types of resources and things people need that they are just trying not to look at the other ones. Basically, if you keep winning inside like finance and work, you can kind of ignore like your failures in, I don't know, like family matters, or like your spiritual life, or maybe your health, or maybe your relationship with your friends, or maybe like how altruistic you really are.
But isn't it always the case? I mean, we can't win everything. We can't win everywhere. We can't win all at once.
I find this as such a like dumb game sports metaphor from the from the English language, from the American culture, that gets stretched way beyond what it is useful for. Because yes, when you take like a single project or like competing for a spot in a workplace or some particular competition, yes, gaming game metaphors work. Like you win or you lose. There's only 5 minutes left on the clock, and suddenly coach sends you in, and it all depends on you, and all that. Like it's a whole imagery. It's not just about simply winning. It's the whole culture.
It's about inspiration.
Yeah, it's because Americans are very much about sports. Then Americans kind of built the business culture, and now other cultures, including Russian culture, have actually taken those lessons, a lot of them kind of literally, without really thinking through where those metaphors came from. And it becomes kind of even less meaningful when they're like, for example, Russian people are saying like, well, you need to win. And they don't even really understand what that means because they don't have this relationship with sports that American people
Emotional
have.
Baggage, right?
Yeah, because like for Americans, why are they talking about sports this much? Because for them, it's a communal experience. They go to a game, they talk during the game, they watch the highlights, they discuss it with their parents, with their friends. They learn all about the athletes, and it's a lot more about local, oh, I am part of my city. We have a team. We will root for it, even though it's always losing. We will be screaming at each other and hating it, but it's all like we're part of this city, this state. Doesn't matter. It's a much bigger thing. And with the sort of like Russian individualism, which is different from American individualism, when you get win or lose, instead of a team, you somehow get this one motherfucker who is trying to fuck everybody over to keep winning, instead of trying to be part of the winning team that makes his home city proud. It becomes a much worse idea. It becomes a much worse cultural thing, which is really funny to me.
This individualism brings me to the point when, I've translated 2 games, and one of them was with a team. And actually, I didn't feel like my job was done well enough because I didn't get, any feedback afterwards. I mean, not much of it anyway. So I couldn't, attribute all the success of it to myself. But then I had this another game where I was actually like the only who translated the whole text. And I was just like, well, that felt kind of nice when you have these Steam reviews where they say, well, the English is impeccable. And I just say, oh my, thanks. Yeah, so...
It's a really a funny thing to me because I feel like in Russian culture, and it becomes like this backwards thing. In Russian culture, it's looked weirdly at when you try to ask for feedback. People don't ask for feedback. And it's kind of, if you ask for feedback, you will most likely get something negative or maybe just neutral. Let's not talk about that, basically.
No, that was nice. That should do it. Yes. Yeah, so.
The idea to me is that because people do not believe they can straightforwardly ask for feedback, people will think of them of like a peacock and somebody who just really wants all this attention. But they do have a need for feedback because a need for feedback is very important and basic in any work you do. Yeah, so like the thing that I want from feedback, actually, what is it? Like there's somebody who I work with who I think is kind of great. I like them. And I want to, what I want from them is to see me and say like, yeah, I see you and I noticed that thing you did. I looked at it and I have actually seen it and I have seen you do it and I'm feeling good about it. Like I feel good about seeing you do this thing because I like you and I like the thing that you did and I liked seeing it. That's it. Like, I don't really give a shit about how somebody evaluates what I do because I don't believe anybody has enough context to actually evaluate what I do. in my
Only
own.
God can judge me, he said.
No, God cannot judge me as well. Fuck him.
Fuck
Like,
you, God.
Yeah, just like, well, it's not useful. Like the evaluation you could give me is not too useful to me because you lack so much context of what I was trying to achieve or what was I doing. But
you haven't seen the whole process. You haven't been there. You should have been
like
there.
I don't really give a shit what you think. Like I made a video, you'll be like, oh, it's a shitty video. I will be like, well, fuck you. You don't know anything. So it doesn't
Well,
matter.
I enjoyed making it, okay?
No, I'm saying I think it's a good video, and I think I will look for ways to make it succeed in some way if I believe it will, or if not, well, it made me happy. It doesn't matter, and I'm not even saying about the work. Watching it makes me happy. That's what I try to go for when creating stuff. I want it to make me happy. Like I am the audience for that. But the thing that I do care about is for people who I care about to care about me and to care about that I'm doing something. It doesn't matter the evaluation that they have of that process, but it matters to me that they're saying, well, I care about you. I care about the fact that you're doing something. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're doing that. And I'm glad I'm here to witness that, basically, or participate. It's just love.
I believe I've seen.
Basically.
Yeah, I believe I've seen little of that. I mean, I believe I've seen little of such appraisal for quite a while. So that's weird because mostly I believe my job is not something other people care about. Even as I was talking about it today, you said, yeah, that was boring.
It was.
Yeah,
It was really
because
boring.
It's boring every time because I've did it for quite a while, so I understand what's going on and how all these things are connected together. So I can talk about this for a while. You would be, for example, oh no, what is this guy talking about? Does it mean anything to me? Can I actually refer to that anyhow?
Yeah, well, I feel like if you wanted to, I don't know, like give me something with that story, you would have to do it differently. But it doesn't mean that, like, it doesn't really matter what I think of that story overall. It's important that I know what I can take from it or can't, and that's kind of my business. And like your story, maybe you can make somebody really happy with that story and the way you told it, but you cannot make me happy with the way you told it because I'm like, I don't know. Not my
I've
cup.
been the producer.
Not my.
You can't surprise me.
Not my cup of tea. Like there, but I am happy you're here. See, like I care about you, and I'm happy you came out here, and that you came out. It's true.
It's been a while since that.
Yeah. It's true. I remember a lot less time you not knowing that you are gay than knowing that you are gay. It was such a small sliver of time for me because I met you just on the verge.
I've always been gay.
Yeah,
right?
you're basically always been gay to me. Just like that's fun.
You just didn't know it.
I just well I kind of knew it. It's
yeah. That was my joke exactly.
true.
So just you were gay to me all the time. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, but like I'm happy that you're here. Like I see what you're doing. I see what you're talking about, and I'm glad you're doing it basically. And I'm glad I'm here to witness it. That's the idea.
Witnessing each other is important. It is.
I'm happy to be here. Like that's why I do it. Like, and if I stop being happy, I wouldn't be doing it. That's like the very complicated.
You know, from my experience, I don't know. I've made a few videos. I mean, I've been making some game-related content for a while, but after that, it just turned out that the videos we made weren't like that good as I remember it. So I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the making of it. The dialogues were nice. The jokes were mwah. But after that, you're just like, I won't watch it again. I'll never watch it again. Probably it was good. Probably it was okay. Maybe, I don't know, it deserved a few likes. But what matters most is that I enjoyed in the process while it lasted.
It's also important. Like, how do I say this? It's not that you need to be your audience. It's not that you need to sit there and watch the entire 10-hour stream you just did. It's the like, and you cannot, for example, with streams or theater, you cannot be in the audience because it's an interactive thing. It is impossible. The idea is that you make something that you would enjoy if you were in the audience and somebody else did it, basically. So you're dancing not to watch yourself dance on the video later, but you're sort of dancing in a way that when people see you, you can kind of feel from them that they are as happy and reacting in a similar way to the way you are reacting when you find somebody dancing on the street and you're like, yeah, dude, like that's a really nice dance, dude. It's like, whoa. And you kind of look for that connection, but from the other side.
Actually, it looks like, some kind of endless cycle or two mirrors mirroring each other. It just, you have this thing, you would actually want to see yourself, so you project something so that the rays of your personality would reflect upon yourself and warm you up.
Yeah, man, it's like, it's gonna be different. Because if you're trying to actually just mirror, you will fail and you will not feel good about it. You start by trying to replicate, but then it's just because you realized, or somebody shown something on you and you felt better or happier. And then you're like, oh, I could be shining on other people. And you're like, you try it and you're looking for your personal way. And then you realize, like, you don't have to shine the same thing you like. You can just shine stuff you would like to shine on people.
So it's not a mirror, it's like a prism or something.
Yeah, because like your personality is a prism. And like if you can sort of, like, to me, like, people have light in them until they don't anymore and they're dead and they're rotting. But before they start rotting, like, they have light in them. And like you could sit in a room and not talk to anybody and you're not shining on anybody, basically. But you definitely can. It takes some work. And you need to kind of like learn how to do it. And it doesn't have to be actually art. It doesn't have to be creative work. You can be shining on people by being just like, I don't know, like a great mother, a great grandmother, just a nice neighbor, by like, I don't know, like growing plants or just doing your job in a way that you make people smile. Just like it can be like, you're nice. You're a nice plumber. You do your work well.
It's still hard for me to assess the value of my life without without producing any content. I mean, I've been like this for quite a while. I've been writing poetry. I've been trying to, write some small, novels. I would just try to write some music or something. I would compose that, right? But if I'm not doing any of that, I'm feeling like I'm failing. So, I don't know. Maybe sometimes you feel like being a good person and shining upon others is enough. But for me, it was like just, am I even good at shining at these people? Am I doing the good job here?
I suggest here that, like, it's not that everybody should be a nice grandma or a good plumber. Because, like, I suck at plumbing and I definitely suck at being a grandma. Just like at the very least for now, it's actually a nice life goal.
Though I must admit, your ears are big.
Yeah, it's true. Well, but like there's self-awareness there, like things that like a really nice like a woman who owns a coffee shop at the bottom of her building makes me smile by the way she gets me coffee. I'm not trying to do what she does. We're different. And I really, like, for example, I'm really creative. By that I mean that I cannot stay on topic for a long time. I keep jumping around. I have weird visions. I have weird ideas. I start like thinking of something and go there, and that's me.
That's called easily distracted.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but it's fine as long as you're creative.
Distracted and creative is actually very connected because you Like, I'm very high in
It's part of the
openness
process.
as a character trait, because I will always like, oh, and you shiny thing, and you shiny thing, and you shiny thing, and I just keep like, and that's why I can, and the fact that I love consuming content. There are people who cannot sit for 7 hours and like really just watch and read and do stuff like this because they don't like it. So what I can do, I can consume all that. I can produce new stuff because that's me. Like, and there is another person who does yoga and pole dancing and running and I don't know, like then they cook with their hands and they're like, yeah, that was a good day, and like that's how she wanted to spend it, and it's an actual person. I could never have that day and not kill myself at the end of it. And she just does that. She's been doing that for 28 years. That's her life. That's her personality. That's her body. That's how she lives. And how I live is different. So self-awareness is the game here.
A step back, I just wanted to say that I believe being a dragon runs in your family because, this shiny stuff, hoarding that, it's what Maya does.
It's true. Well, we're a bit different, I'd say.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot of pollinating personalities when you spend so much time together when you're little. But yeah, and basically the other thing is that we have the same network. I would never actually talk to you and learn who you are if Maya wasn't so keen on talking to Katya all the time.
Yeah.
She was like, well, let's go. It's a birthday. And I'm like,
should I really go? Who's that?
And I'm like, I kind of hate everybody, and especially your friends. And she's like, well. And now see, like, just the inevitability and the laziness of actually fighting back. And now I communicate with Maya's friends a lot, and more than her because she moved away now. So see, that's like, it works.
Yeah, I communicate with her friends a lot. I haven't stopped hating them ever since. But it's just we can't communicate now.
It's true. Yeah, like, no, hatred is like a very important feeling I have for mostly everybody.
For me, it's mostly anger. I mean, they are different, though at sometimes I realize that anger is what keeps me going. It's what kept me going in the companies with this chaos going on. And I cling to that because it was the only emotions that I had. The only desire is revenge, so that I should build a cluster of people around me who would want to leave the company with me if he doesn't take this correct decision. That's what I did.
There's a difference between anger and rage, though.
What's the difference, though?
So anger has you have been offended. In a way, anger is when you're holding on to some grudge.
Fine, and rage is like, blind instant thing, or?
No, and rage is the energy of protecting your boundaries. You can get into rage and set boundaries and push everybody out. But it hasn't been it hasn't necessarily been started by some offense to you. It can be that you're just like, I have my boundaries.
But wait, so I guess you can be both enraged and angry at the same time, because if somebody offended you and got into your territory, then you would want to retaliate and,
Yeah, anger is about the other person in a way. Anger is about somebody else.
How dare you being that?
Yeah, and rage is more about you and your territory.
True that. It's a nice distinction.
Yeah, it's like
I guess I'll remember it.
It's fun things you learn when you train to be a Gestalt therapist for 5 years. And then never work a day as a therapist.
What was the saying? Get a job with
a job with a giraffe who plays the violin, and then you will never work a day.
Yeah, that one.
So
So you just like study as educate yourself as a Gestalt therapist, and then you'll never work a day.
Yeah, well, sure. I wasn't educating myself though. I was being educated by other people who gave me a lot of cool stuff to know and learn and like be able to do. And also had quite a bit of flaws and weird stuff. But at the end, like I was looking to make money to continue my education as a Gestalt therapist. But in the process, I found like to make money, I asked myself that profound question of what is it that I would do and actually consider worth doing. And that question actually brought me to like work that is more meaningful to me than being a therapist.
Creating content.
Yeah, well, not yeah, well, creating content is in a way it's a more of a tool. What I like is communicating basically ideas and feelings to other people and kind of sharing this energy, sharing my vision, sharing my thoughts, and doing it in a way that makes people feel kind of, I don't know, good, like makes people energized.
I always keep forgetting that there are many ways to communicate. Even if we're talking about, communication is not just about talking as we are now. It's also about, producing stuff and influencing other people with what you create, with your art, with your music or something. It's also communicating. Also, although it is non-verbal, but it is a way to communicate.
If you
with
give a
other
musician
people.
a really good hand job, they might just, write a masterpiece or just, and it's,
Masterpiece. Ah.
well,
Yeah.
it's just, that's how I look at the world. Well, enough of this philosophical bullshit. You said you were sad that Inside Out got canceled.
Did I? What? I never said that.
No?
No, I
Inside
don't
Job.
think-
Inside Job. I'm sorry, not
Inside
Out.
Job. I wasn't, very much disappointed. Although the ending was kind of, sad. But okay, I enjoyed it while it lasted, and I have no personal feelings against people who canceled it. But it would be good to have a few seasons of that.
I thought it had potential. They managed with like in the first season was sort of a mediocre plot. They really made me care about the characters. And I felt like they were really hitting some nice stride in season 2. And then it just kind of, I don't know, like spit blitzed to the ending of her meeting those like Illuminati stuff. It's like it was a sad ending, and it felt like a lot of people, like what I see there, that a lot of people put a lot of heart into this, and maybe it was a little wonky, but it was working. It had heart, and I just think of those hundreds of people who are now not growing this project and not growing with it, and they are probably really disappointed, and I'm disappointed.
I believe they had plans for that. I believe for a few seasons. I mean, they usually have at least like a 2 or 1 season planned. So
yeah, it's a thing of it's not an easy undertaking to create a fictional world and for it to work whatsoever. And when such things get cut short, I'm really annoyed. I get really annoyed at how the industry is set up, because I feel like people should be able to finish their stories or continue. And maybe with progress in creative tools, it will actually be possible later on where you like at least, okay, we can go and monetize in a bit of a different way, cheaper, but still finish it. And some do that already, but it's not easy.
I believe there is a trend to all of that. I mean, there was this point where Netflix financed like every possible show that that you pitch to them, and then there was, and then here we are at the point where actually many shows get canceled. So
we should have pitched, like that's the idea there.
What should have we pitched?
Anything. They were funding anything, man. Like
Yeah,
You just said it.
Yeah, maybe we should have.
Well,
Oh, the opportunity is missed. I should have bought Bitcoin, when? In 2012, was it?
true. It's the same thing that's happening with the IT industry in a way that, like, it shows how the way the economy works right now is just really, at best, thinking about the end of this year. It's so dumb. It's like, because, like, okay, COVID, and, our profits are rising. Oh my God, people are staying at home. Oh, that's great. Like, what do we do when the profits are rising? Well, we'll buy more stuff, and we'll just, like, hire more people, fund more projects. It's fun. It will last forever. It's not even a question of it will last forever. The tools.
There will be setbacks. There will be.
The tools are set up in a way that you don't even give a shit if it will last forever, because inside this year, where you get, as an executive, your motivation, where you get your profits, where you get your new investors, you don't give a shit about the next year. You just grow. And then it's like, well, now we kind of need to fire 50,000 people and cancel a lot of projects, give the old economy a really bad downturn, as well as the natural downturn that's happening. I don't pretend like I understand the economy, like, overall.
So are we talking about this, American bank closing, Silicon Valley something thing? Or...
Well, I'm not. I'm saying that I'm too dumb for that. Like,
oh yeah, okay. Because I'm too dumb too.
I don't have. I kind of understand the trends, the way they work, in the simplest high level ways. That, like, there was overhiring. Yes.
You lack context.
Overfunding of projects. Yes. I can see how, like, what has happened. Like, I have enough brain for that. And I can see that there were no kind of, like, systems in place to hold that back. And it's not firsthand knowledge. It's me sort of, like, hearing it from different sources. But I do feel like it's something worth reacting to, because it's just having a reaction, emotional and sort of, like, verbal, to that is valuable.
What I've heard, I mean, I wouldn't just say the situation in general, but it's just some people say that it's just the management issue, not the crisis indicator. Although I would say, even if it's a management issue, mismanagement in this case, it can still have some implications that I am not able to forecast. So
a management issue can also be a crisis indicator, which is funny because, like, people get stressed and they're like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? And then they make a dumb decision. That's like, that happens also. Like, Netflix is what probably is like, well, our, like, profits are going down and we're trying to understand how it's happening and what to do. But at the same time, they're like, well, let's try something different. Let's fucking cancel the cartoons now, somebody says. And you're like, sure, because, there's, like, this anxiety energy in the air. I'm just speculating, but it's still
just
people.
The same with Twitter, with all this management thing. When they expected great things from this Elon Musk, because, he had, like, rockets and
this
fire,
Elon Musk guy.
Fire
should
longer.
Really start an electric car company.
Yeah,
he seems like the type.
Yeah. Now he seems like the type for the bad decisions, because actually firing most of the Twitter engineers and then just trying to make it profitable, at the same time destroying everything that they worked for, then changing those decisions back, like canceling them, and then we are back at the point where we started, although we lost quite a few features. We didn't get much new features, and everything is destroyed and everything is terrible, and people don't want to go to Twitter anymore.
Hey, maybe the real Twitter was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. That's when we go to Discord.
Yeah, no, it makes sense in a way to me. It's like the Donald Trump's presidency. It like shakes things up, and it shows, like, Sometimes to see what not to do is also great, because people are dumb and like
Because if you do nothing, you can't check whether everything is like working properly.
yeah, well, it's how do I say this? It's like it has been entertaining, and I still see value in that this happened.
It was a show.
It was a show to me. Yeah, it was just, and it communicated. See, it was natural entertainment, and the fun part, like why do I like entertainment? I actually like stories. Stories contain information about things that are most important to kind of like people, and they try to find a way to tell it so that you will get that message. And sometimes like stories, they like the reality itself is telling that story. You don't have to put a lot of spin on it, because you just observe how Elon Musk bought Twitter, everything that happened, and you can make your own life lessons out of it. You don't even have somebody narrating it.
What do they call a performance that you are a part of? Is it a happening or something like that?
I think they call it the internet.
Well, actually, as for the stories and Trump, I remember this one. It was kind of funny. When he promised to build the wall, and the whole thing was just starting. Mexicans on the other side were having some kind of parades where they made these paper dolls of Trump, and then they burned it. So it was kind of, somebody hates you enough to make a fucking imagery of you and then just, destroy it in a beautiful way. Someone cares enough.
I actually have a story like that.
Did you make a doll?
No. I felt it from the other side. I was actually like, when I was working for like Guns of Boom as the face of the brand.
So somebody wanted to burn an effigy of you?
Yeah, there was this particular guy who was making like really, angry but sort of like humorous videos about how everything sucks and everything's shitty. And just like really, really sarcastic, really, really like, just toxic, like an entertaining way. Well, further to the last videos, it didn't really work as well. But like he, in like kind of being toxic about it and being sarcastic, he went to a level where at some point he like created like a 20-minute video where there was, oh my god, I don't remember. There was somebody who turned out to be a traitor, and then it was the devil, and then he took the face off of him, and it turned out to be me. He was playing me. He was playing me, showing like a European accent or something, like like saying stuff, like the subtext of what he thought I meant, like how we don't care about the players and how me myself as Stanis really was the mastermind behind all of this. And he shot me in that video. He he acted out shooting me to death, and it like and just really focusing on that. And it was interesting to me because like it had so many layers, because he was projecting the anger at me, but the messaging was of the brand. And then it is like an effigy of me was burnt, just like out of like, because he cared enough. It's also true. And it made me scared and kind of disgusted and kind of mesmerized. I was like, whoa, this is just so interesting. This is like so captivating, like that somebody did this and spent so much time and even played me. Like he killed himself playing me, like it's just, and he didn't kill himself, but like there's a amount of levels there. It was really fascinating to me.
Wow. I wish I had a hater like that. But anyway, that's what they call. Anyway, that's what they call feedback, right?
One day you will find Mr. Right, or better to say Mr. Right, will find you, and then no one will find you again. Well, it is feedback as well. Like it is feedback. Creative feedback is weird because I could feel that the guy was not only giving feedback, he was really kind of relishing in creating something himself. I really wished he would, like, forward that energy into something more his own. Like, I feel like he had a lot and enough to do that, but he kept kind of clinging really tightly onto just hating.
It's just when people they need some starting point. It's just when you draw a line and then it's not an empty page anymore, so they can start drawing something with this line. So they need some video so that they could like refer to it and then build something around it, something of their own.
I haven't seen him move past that, though. That's the kind of the problem. Like I haven't seen anything with enough energy. Maybe I need to check back. I think the last time I checked was maybe a year and a half ago. Kind of went to rewatch that video of him killing me. I don't know. Like, it feels like a real fan.
It's a validation, though.
It is. I know that at the very least, the message that I was kind of putting out reached him, because he definitely showed that just to parody somebody, like to get the European accent there, to get the way I say things, to try and get my mannerisms, all of that really requires you to be like there. Because, see, he basically said, I see you. I've seen what you do. I see what you do. He's not glad, but he did witness it. That's the idea.
He might want to replace you, just like...
That's also true, actually. It's also like a lot of players, and it's so interesting to be on the other side of it, like be the spokesperson for the devs. A lot of players are like, I could do it better. I could make it better.
But you aren't.
But, it's not even that. It's that, like, it's interesting how sometimes naive it is, and how people suggest the same things over and over, and it's like, it's two-sided. On one hand, it's very naive, and they're wrong about a lot of stuff that they're suggesting.
They lack context, and they don't know the depth of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, often they're completely right. In the heart of it. In the way that they're feeling that something is amiss and not working the way it should be, and they're right. And it's just so difficult to separate this naive, not really useful feedback from the actual, like, intuitive, correct understanding of the thing.
That's the same, actually, with what I've did. I mean, here, being a methodologist, because we actually received quite a few negative reviews, I would say, on our previous course, and we couldn't, just separate what was really wrong and what was just their, way to say that they were displeased. We tried to do so and actually made a table about that, but that would be boring. Let's not go there.
Did you try doing deep interviews with some of the negative people?
We did, and actually it turned out pretty well. We collected some data that, but most of it would be you need to do everything completely different. So from the very basics, you'll have to work on your audiences targeting. You'll have to work on your contents, because some of the things you do, actually, they lack intro parts that are supposed to be there. And we weren't feeling that, because some of that was actually valuable. Anyway, it hurts to listen to people when they can't just take their constructive feedback, bring it to you. They give everything they feel, and dealing with their feelings is, I don't know, maybe also a thing we get paid for, but in a way it's distracting.
Therapists get paid for that as well.
It's distracting and frustrating, actually, when you realize You can't do everything right. And there'll always be some person who will say that something wasn't right. But listening only to those people is actually sad, and you shouldn't do that, I believe.
It's difficult, but like if you have the energy for it, if you like prepare like well enough and you give yourself enough rest afterwards, it's like it can be a very important conversation, because like it takes a lot of work for them to separate their feelings from the feedback. And that's actually, I understand why people don't do it, because it would be like free work that they do.
Yeah.
But what I would ask from those people, like, doesn't matter what kind of absurd things they want from the product, would be like, well, if it was like that, what would it do for you? Like just imagine that we did all that. Like, how would you feel? Like, what would you experience? Like, and I would ask, like, and how is it different from what you experienced this time? Like, what were the feelings, what was the experience, and what would it become in your fantasy?
I don't even know whether people really want to make something better or they just want to be heard. I believe that some people just want to talk to you because they really want to talk to anybody. They want to be heard. They want to make podcasts. They want to, they like the sound of their voice talking. They like the feeling they get when people listen to them. So basically, some people like that, when they start giving you negative feedback, it's irritating, because really you feel like they're in their expert position. So the moment you give the moment you give the microphone to them, you're lost. You can't get back.
Well, no, you can if you set it up correctly. Basically, if you're in a call where you're the admin.
Well,
you can literally mute them.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, and that's the way you should do it. Like, that's the thing that's it's you're not in the same position. You're hosting, you're adminning, you're like. You are in an uneven situation where there are, like, I don't know, 5 of you and thousands of them. You cannot talk equally when you have 5,000 versus 5, basically.
It's never fair.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like, it's I see it as it's my job to take care of myself in this communication where, like, I don't know, like 200,000 people watched this video where I talked. And they're all giving me feedback on it. And not all of them, actually, it'll be like 5%, but it doesn't matter. Still a lot of people. And it's my responsibility to take that into account. It's not their responsibility to think like, oh, wow, I'm writing like the 4,000th comment here. I should probably go easy on him. Like, I can read or not read. I should take care of my feelings. If they went into my house and shouted it at me while I'm sleeping, not letting me sleep, yeah, they're in my boundaries. But while they're, I don't know, like posting comments on YouTube, it's absolutely everything's okay there. And if those people, if they come into the office and start screaming at your team for doing a bad job, then yeah. But when you're like, so how did you like that? And they start screaming, well, you asked. You put a form there.
I believe people start treating their social networks and comment sections as their like private spaces. So the moment you come with unwanted negative feedback, you might just realize people wouldn't want to listen to you, and that's okay for some reason. But it's just hard to it's hard to separate spaces. It's hard to make sure that you are not offended by the comment section in this particular social network, and in another network, for example, you easily are. So you'll have to like really build some kind of a wall or a barrier, so that those stingy needles won't hurt you.
If it's my mom writing a feedback on a public course that I did, it will sting a lot more.
Because she knows how it hurts.
She
how
knows
to hurt
me.
you, right?
Well, because we share a lot of our past, and we share a lot of our relationship right now. Like we share a lot of trust, and we share a lot of sort of like agreements that we have. So if she really like rails on me, like really just like goes for it in a public space, it would kind of like change and like offend some of those agreements, some of those boundaries, some of that relationship that I have with her. That's how she can hurt me, because me having this relationship with her is me being connected to her. But somebody completely, like somebody who doesn't have a relationship with me, I don't know how they can offend me. Like, what is there? Like, I don't feel like their opinion matters a lot, just to me, because like they don't have
You're
the
nobody.
context.
You don't have 1,000 followers. Come back when you have like 6.
What do you mean?
No, it's just like there was this. It's practically a meme on Twitter, so that
Oh,
somebody
okay.
comes with some hateful comments, and they reply, "Oh, it's nice of you to keep in touch, but your opinion doesn't actually. Nobody cares for your opinion, and you should come back when you have more followers, so that would indicate that there are people who actually care for you."
Interesting.
So that's,
Well,
yeah, social networks in action.
well, I guess actually, I think even though it's a weird note, I feel like we actually talked about what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Well, yeah, like our life is full of valuable people, things, and just like aspirations and fun memories. But what are you talking about?
I mean, we talk about everything and about nothing at the same time. It's just pure philosophy at this point.
It was nice. Like I feel like we have talked. Like we was a rocky start. Well, we sort of have talked. Like I think we started from the self-identity and what to identify with. It sort of went into how to interact with the world in a way that is fair to oneself, basically. How to be self-aware, how to like deal with other people's judgment, and this was a through line
Well,
this entire time.
from what I hear, we just discussed it, from the point of view that we both realize what it is and what are the tools that you actually use for that. Because, saying that you shouldn't care for comments from hateful people doesn't actually help you realize how to do that. I believe we left the audience with little tools to handle these things as of yet.
I never, in a way, I disagree, and I think like those tools will always be personal. You cannot give somebody tools to deal with hate or to deal with judgment. You can share your experience of how you're doing that. And like if it's somebody who you can talk to interactively, you can listen to them, but like you will never be able to give those tools. It's also like we're too dumb. Like it's like we're too dumb to understand how this all works.
We only
But
have
people,
language to talk through.
there is trial and error. And sort of like interestingly about yourself, you have all those kind of like feelings, understandings, intuitions, like little impulses, little spiritual moments, like transcendental stuff. And all that actually gives you quite a lot to work with if you quiet your mind and kind of observe yourself and everything that you are.
So
Which
if you
is
take a lot of of your attention on the outside, you tend to ignore what's happening within.
I think like it's great to like both are important. Like you just need to not only strike a balance but actually like do both. Like and just try expand your awareness of what's happening of yourself, of the world. Slowly you kind of get rid of things that hurt you, and distract you. Slowly you build little things that support you and give you energy and more attention and health. And if you just continue down that path, it grows and grows and grows, and at some point you have like a really deep well of attention and a deep well of resources, and you have a nice safe space around you where you know that there are not many things that can hurt you, and then you kind of come to be
Secure.
more free, well, relaxed, more free, more yourself. Takes time, and people get born into different situations, and they get into different situations where like it might, like the world might just steamroll you, like you get hit by a truck, and there's like you did all of those things correctly. You were building, you were attentive, but it might not be enough. But it's kind of impractical to live thinking about that. You just do what you can, and like I think people, by listening to this, can sort of like get a little boost, a little support for the things that they're doing for themselves right, and get a little more wary of the things they're doing for themselves wrong. It's just like it's a journey. You can't really solve anything for anybody.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah, well,
True that.
she was looking kind of dumb though, like,
Yeah,
with a finger and a thumb, with an L.
in the shape of an L on her forehead.
The years stop coming and they don't stop. Let's stop like this. 3 seconds. We're not getting copyright stricken. Well, thank you very much, Vlad, for being here. It was a really fun podcast number 5. I feel like it was unlike any other podcast I had before that. It's really nice. It's really philosophical. We didn't touch almost on any content, but still, I'm sure people will love to listen to this or not. Anyway, what do you want to say?
Trial and error.
Anything? Do you want to say anything in the end?
Enjoy yourself.
Well, and this is the end of our podcast, and I'll see you guys later. Stanis out.
Bye.